Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Restorations and Repairs. Today we're working on the 66 Beetle and I'm going to show you how to replace this. This is the mechanical fuel pump. You're going to find this in every Volkswagen air-cooled engine from the 36 horsepower originals all the way up through the late 70s when they switched to fuel injection. I think 76 was the first year for fuel injection if I'm not mistaken. So there you go. We're going to do it. It's not a difficult job, but if you've never done one before, it can be a bit surprising. We're going to need just two tools, 13 millimeter and a 13 millimeter. And before I get started on this, let me remind you I do have a new channel, Farpoint Mowers and More. So if you like mechanical videos, how-to videos, there's a bunch of videos on how to keep your riding mower, push mower, weed whacker, chainsaw and stuff alive. Let's take the camera to the back of my 66 and I'll show you what we need to do. Let's go. All right, here we go. Here is our fuel pump right here. This is an actual rebuildable pump, so I'm not going to be throwing this out, but I don't have the kit to rebuild it, and I'm in a hurry to see if I can get this thing running. So I'm going to go ahead and get a pair. This, you can see, this fuel line needs to be replaced. That is 3/16. You want to use the metric stuff. This is the proper stuff you want to have here, that braided German fuel line. I think it's 8 millimeter. And so I'm going to get a pair of pliers and kind of rock that back and forth so that I can remove it. And then we have two 13s, one's right here, one's right behind it back there. This one, open end or box end wrench. On the back, I try to use either a swivel. Sometimes I can get right in there with a 1/4 inch ratchet. Sometimes I can even come behind the distributor and get it from behind. We'll see how this one plays out. This is a unit that does have an alternator. This engine is not out of a 66, probably 73, 74 it looks like. Alternator, 34 PCIT, so a little newer model, dual port engine, all the rest. But the process is pretty much the same no matter what. Honestly, for the cost of the fuel line, which is usually less than $1 a foot, it's probably not a bad idea to consider replacing this if you don't know the date on it. I mean, you can actually see, I wish I could get the camera close enough, but maybe you can see, there are cracks in that rubber. Most of your vintage Beetles have engine fires as a result of this failing. This one does not have a fuel filter in it, which is kind of unusual. I imagine the original or the previous owner probably put it in line somewhere underneath the car. That's fine if you want to do that. But these cars are a little temperamental to burning up, so we want to make sure that doesn't happen. And for like $30 of brand new fuel line and a new fuel filter, pretty good idea to go ahead and do that. All right, so this bolt and the one behind it are our next challenges. I'm going to try to sneak this wrench in here and get behind it. And sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. Yeah, there we go. And thankfully it wasn't too tight on that, but I do have it started. And a lot of times once you get it started, you can work on it with your fingers. We'll go ahead and show you the front one here too as well. Get that loosened up. There we go. And we'll just take those off. No idea why this pump stopped working. If it's possible, and I don't know, I haven't looked under the car. We're just trying to get it running at this point. I haven't looked at the fuel system, but it's possible that the previous owner removed the fuel filter and just decided to roll with what he had, which is a terrible idea. Does it remove the threat of fire or loosen the threat of fire a bit? I suppose it does, but now you're dealing with a whole new set of problems, like clogging carburetors and ruining fuel pumps, so I don't recommend that either. Now I don't have any battery attached, which is probably a smart idea since we're going to be playing with the possibility this car hasn't run in many years, so there's no fuel to spill out, but it's probably not a bad idea to unhook the battery when you're doing this. Anytime you're messing with fire, the possibility of creating a spark and you have an ignition source, that's going to be a big problem, or could be. And you'll see this is not a difficult or complicated job, just a bit tricky in the sense that you don't want to drop anything into the engine. Having a magnet is not a bad idea if you want to try to get the washer that's sitting on the back there is definitely something that could slide in and disappear. We're going to try real hard to make sure that doesn't happen. There it is. So I've got that out of the way, and that should be that. Now, getting this off with the alternator is a whole lot harder. As you can see, it does not clear. That's not good, actually. I was hoping we'd have just enough, but this is not the right pump for this car. And so what we're going to do is take this off, and hopefully that'll give us enough room. Look at that, that was finger tight. And if we have to do that with the back, we can lift up. Oh, it's so close. Yeah, I think we'll have to take the one in the back for the carburetor off on this and just lift up just so it clears that front stud. Maybe the back one's as loose as the front one. I'm going to get the coil, or I'm sorry, the distributor cap. I'm going to pull it up and lay it off to the side just so I have better access to that rear one. That one's a little snugger. So that also is just a, if I can get to it, just a 13. Go ahead. There we go. Wow, that was probably sucking air right there, or would have been. Causes all kinds of drivability problems when you have small leaks like that. Okay. Okay, now I haven't pulled it all the way, but you can see I can lift and rock that back. All right, let's see what we got here. Come on. It's coming. Sometimes it doesn't want to, but it's coming, and there it is. That's all there is to it. That one, again, is different than the replacement, but the next thing we want to do here is this gasket is, this gasket's not a nice gasket, so we're going to replace that. We're going to carefully, I don't want all this trash to get down into the engine compartment if possible, so we'll go ahead and slowly lift up on the gasket. There we go. And you can see our riser here. There's our old gasket. We're going to get rid of that. Got a brand new one with our new kit. So we'll take our new gasket, slide it down on there. Perfect. Okay, with our new gasket on, we can go ahead and reinstall this, and usually this is going to be a whole lot easier going back in. These the non-rebuildable types have a lower deck height, so we can usually just wiggle that in there. There we go. And we're going to push that down on there, and you can see the spring power for the pump. And we'll tighten those bolts back up. I'll do the front one first just because it's easier to get at. And we'll be rocking and rolling. In fact, if I hadn't had to loosen the carburetor up, you can tell this is maybe a 10-minute job. Certainly, it's not a difficult one. I'll kind of hold that down while I tighten. And I am reusing that little metal washer that came on there. I don't know, Volkswagens, every nut and bolt and washer, they all have washers on them. I'm not sure if they're all that necessary. I know that a lot of engines have gone to the junkyard because somebody drops one into an inopportune place on the engine. But for the sake of this video and for the sake of this car, I will use that. All right, well, I'll do the back one as well. Get it snug, and then I'll use the wrench to finish it up. Cool. Now we're down to just reassembling, or retightening the carburetor, I should say. We're going to get that back on there. Again, that's not too difficult. We did not take it all the way off, and the gasket for it didn't rip when I pulled up on it, so we should be fine there. But we should definitely snug that down a little bit more than it was before. There we go. Maybe, yeah. That's nice. Okay. And then I'm going to tighten the back one here. Cool. Okay. Going to reattach my choke. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the power cylinder. Okay. Reattach that. We are going to put our cap back on. Make sure we put that in the right direction. then we have got to get that off. So our incoming fuel line is this one right here. And I think it's the, I can't remember which direction goes where, but we'll figure that out pretty quickly when it doesn't work. Okay, we'll sneak that on there. Get my pair of needle nose pliers to break that loose. Might need another pair. Matter of fact, maybe I'll just cut that. That seems pretty. I'm going to be replacing that anyway. Okay. And we'll put that on there. If I can get it on there. This is not good line here. It is fuel line. You can see it is braided, but it's the wrong size, which is why it doesn't want to fit on there. 3/16 is too small. You need the metric size for it. And when you don't, you're stretching it. And that causes premature failure, which is one of the main reasons these cars tend to burn up. And that's it. Once we have that hooked back up, like I said, I'm going to be replacing this line and this line, honestly. I'm replacing all the fuel lines. But if you want to know how easy it is to replace a fuel pump, this can be done on the side of the road easy. If your car stops running and you don't know what's going on, that's probably what's going on. It's either electric. You got three things to keep an engine running. You got air, you got fuel, and you got spark. As long as you have all three of those, it'll run. It may not run well, but it will run. You take any one of those three away, and you got problems. In this case, the fuel pump was the problem. That'll do it for today, my friends. Hope you got something out of this. If you did, perhaps you will think about liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Take care.